to the Charter Podcast, brought to you by St. Xavier University. Ruthie Polinsky back here with you. Clay Harbor joining me at Halas Hall today for Bears training camp practice number 3. Do a little mini pod for you guys today, just sort of recapping the day. Clay, first of all, how's it feel? Guys, I got to tell you this. Clay was out there for about 7 minutes before he found a football that he could hold because he wanted to get in on the action. It's like, can someone get this guy some pads? Like, throw him out there, although even they're not in pads yet. Clay, how'd it feel to be out there today watching training camp? You miss it?
It was good. I just remember how frustrating sometimes it can be at this point because it's only 3 days in, you're learning the offense, and you don't have pads on. There's a lot of overreaction, and obviously we're going to take that into account when we tell you what we tell you from some of our observations, but we always got to remember, it is hard to block when you don't have pads on, and the Bears offense and defense obviously aren't wearing pads yet. That's going to come on Monday, and we're all looking forward to that. But we're taking that with a grain of salt, but I still think there was a lot of good stuff out there today that we can talk about.
Let's do some housekeeping first. Braxton Jones was not out there today. We were told by Bears PR that was a scheduled day off. Obviously, he's still in that ramp-up period. Colston Loveland's still in that ramp-up period. He only participated in individual drills, went inside for team drills. Obviously still no Luther Burden out there, which I think, when it's called day-to-day, we're going to mention every day that he's not out there because we're kind of waiting for the day that he is out there. And I think that's probably the most injury-related news we could share at this point. What do you think?
Yeah, Braxton Jones, they said it was just a rest day that they had pre-planned. Like you said, no Luther Burden, no Shamar Turner.
Yeah, no Shamar Turner still.
Yeah, just not Drew Dahlman, but Ryan Bates, wasn't out there for practice. So the normal stuff that you would think.
Okay. Well, you've probably read the headlines or seen stuff on social media, but it was an ugly day for the Bears offense, to say the least, especially for the first team offense. Clay, I know there's two sides to every story, right? We could also frame this in saying, hey, it was a great day for the defense.
It was a good day for the defense.
But let's focus on the offense first. We saw a lot of team drills and red zone, 11-on-11, 7-on-7. I believe Caleb was 2 for 11, 2 picks back-to-back. It wasn't pretty. Let's just say that. What did you make of the way that the players, the way we heard from Declan Doyle today, the way that they sort of unpacked what we saw today? It's early.
It was interesting, and it's early. So you see that they're trying to learn the offense. And at the same time, Dennis Allen seems to be able to mix up the defense, which is something that's impressive for the amount of time that they've had together. Because Ruthie will see me. I'm over here. I'm trying to call out coverages. I'm calling out plays. I'm going, oh, this guy's in motion. This is definitely man-to-man. Next thing you know, they pop zone. I go, this is cover 2 zone. Next thing you know, it's cover 3 buzz. I'm just batting probably like 300. If I was a baseball player, I'm in the Hall of Fame. But anything else, you're not doing good hitting 300, especially when you're trying to figure out what a coverage is. So I think Dennis Allen did a great job of disguising the coverages, and that really kind of got to the Bears there for a couple of those interceptions when Caleb threw the pick, when he was T.J. Edwards, Jaquan from the tip ball, and then they just seemed the timing was a little bit off. But you always say in red zone, windows are smaller. You want a touchdown, check down mentality. You got to get the ball out quick. If you're holding the ball in the red zone, typically bad things are going to happen. So there's a lot to work on there, and obviously it's day 3. But, like you said, that was, for the offense, that was a very, very ugly red zone period for the defense. That's exactly what you want.
Right.
Turnovers and stops.
Yeah. So Super Bowl caliber defense. Here we go. I think it's important to also point out that DJ Moore echoed exactly what you're saying. And he said, you got to be so on time. You cannot be half a second late in red zone because, like you said, windows are smaller, defenses play tighter, everything's just under a microscope when you're that close to the end zone. And DJ Moore was the victim of that today, as you mentioned. Tyreek Stevenson wrapped him up in the end zone, and DJ Moore couldn't get his hands on the ball, tipped off him, and Jaquan Brisker came down with it, returned it for, I'm sure what Jaquan would tell you was a pick 6, 100-yard pick 6 or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason the windows are smaller, because obviously, the field gets shut down, right? So for somebody that might not be familiar, is like, why are the windows tighter? Because say you're at the 10-yard line, you only got 20 yards of real estate to work with, including the end zone. So everybody is jammed into this 20 to 10 yard space where you're trying to score, and it makes the windows a lot smaller. it makes the timing that much more important. If you're an efficient, effective red zone team, you got to be on time, or you got to be a guy like, Lamar Jackson that can just run around and create and just find an open player. So I think that's there's two ways to do it, and I think that the Bears are going to have to be a very on-time team and get better at that.
Is there a level of concern for you with Caleb Williams right now?
I'm not going to say I'm concerned yet. Obviously, today wasn't a great day. There were some flashes. You did see some good things. They were running a lot under center. You saw some ups, some downs, and you saw some solid plays. Obviously,
got a field goal in 2 minutes.
Got a field goal in 2 minutes, and obviously they were playing some deep prevent defense there. So he's doing a lot better when it's a deep two-man prevent defense. When Dennis Allen starts switching up the coverage and disguising, that's when you see a lot of the trouble coming. And then obviously it's a little tough because he's getting pressure on him even though there's no pads, so it's harder for the line to block. So I think as we get into pads, as they start learning this offense more, Ben Johnson is going to be able to scheme up some plays to really attack this Dennis Allen defense a little bit better.
When you were driving up to Halas Hall today, did you expect it to look better?
Yeah, I'll be honest. Driving up here, I did expect it to look better, and trust me.
It's day 3, I mean, it's not day 1
it's
anymore.
Day 3. I've been a part of some bad offensive teams, Ruthie. Trust me. Like I said, I played with the Jaguars for 3 years. Like, we weren't good. Like, we've been a part of some teams, but this wasn't a good practice. I've been a part of some good teams, and even though day 3, I've been a part of and seen teams that were a little more crisp, been a little more on it than you are now. You don't want to see the turnovers. That's definitely something, and you want to see more completions. In 7-on-7, you never want to see a ball hit the ground.
Right.
That's what your coach always tells you, and we saw plenty of that today, and we saw the other team catch it.
Whoops.
Yeah.
The defense.
Yeah.
It's the same team, but
Same
it's their
team,
defense.
but the defense, yeah.
Understood. Clay, let's talk about some of the good stuff because you were calling out a lot of defensive guys' names to me today. I know you mentioned Montez Sweat, Grady Jarrett. Those guys were kind of all over the place.
Yeah, Grady Jarrett, to me, had a really good day. And it's obviously tough because he's such a compact little bowling ball that like, there's no space to get your hands on him, especially if you don't have pads. But Grady Jarrett, high energy. The guy's slapping his helmet between every play, getting himself pumped up. He's a guy that is tough to move. When you put him in there with Big Bill, those are 2 bowling balls that you are not going to run on. The Bears were poor. They were in the bottom 5 of the NFL last year in running defense between the tackles. So whenever you ran the ball between the tackles, the Bears were giving up a big push. Guess what? Grady Jarrett still got some juice. Big Bill, that chest is looking fine. That's a big man. That chest is looking fine. These guys are going to be stopping that interior run if they stay healthy. I'm very excited to see what they do. And then Gervon Dexter, me and Ruthie are just like, this guy just looks like a freak athlete. He's tall, he's lean, he's athletic. Like, he's a guy that's going to provide some really good interior pass rush. So I think this blend of defensive linemen is causing this Bears offensive line, which is actually a good and reputable offensive line, some problems, obviously because of the pads, but because they're so different. When you're playing against a bunch of different players, that makes it tougher to block them because you really can't get used to one style.
And the offensive linemen are going to tell you, well, we don't have the pads on yet, so it's not fair to to judge our D-line until you can judge, us with our pads on. So, and it was cool to hear from Joe Toney today, obviously a man of few words, your former roommate, talking about how Grady Jarrett's making him better. That's someone that, has played in the league a long time, and Joe Toney feels like he's getting challenged facing him every day.
Yeah, and that's something that you want. If you're Joe Toney, you want to be playing against a Pro Bowl caliber player every day. The best that I've ever been is when I was playing against really good defensive ends and really good linebackers in practice every single day. Sometimes that makes the game seem easy. If you're playing against these guys that are superstar players and they're on their team, that's great. And Grady Jarrett's a guy that's got a big bag of moves. He can do a lot of things. He's going to make Joe Toney work, and he's going to keep him on top of his game. So I think those two guys are going to make each other even better. We know they're veterans. We know how many accolades they have, but they're continue to push themselves, and I think that's just going to be really good for the Bears' offense and defense.
I brought up Joe Thuney, who obviously is the Bears' left guard, who has a left tackle competition happening to his left. And he talked about 𝗦𝗫ci 𝗰𝗶𝗹 and the way that he has big ears, not physically, but he's just taking everything in, asking a lot of questions. He's a good listener. That's good to hear from someone who we talk about looks athletic. 𝗦𝗫ci was getting the reps with the ones today as they're rotating him and 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 back and forth. Day to day as of for now, it appears. You get to watch both those guys today. You saw them in OTAs and minicamp. How do you think they compare at this stage?
I watched a lot of the tackle today. I made sure that things obviously make sure out of my peripherals or whatever I'm doing, I'm seeing what the left tackle's doing. If 𝗦𝗏ci or 𝗵𝗏 were in there, so those were two guys I was really looking forward to see. And honestly, both of them showed up today. 𝗵𝗏 gave up one pressure. I think 𝗦𝗏ci gave up another one, but overall, 𝗦𝗏ci's a guy that's going to battle. Even when he got beat a couple times, he's battling. He's a guy that's not going to give up on a play. His technique is great. He seems like he knows where he's supposed to be in every play. And for a rookie playing left tackle, I'm very impressed with 𝗦𝗏ci 𝗰𝗶𝗹. And I think this is going to be a real position battle because this guy is real deal. And even today, 𝗵𝗏, I'm watching him in pre-warm-up. So I'm talking to Ruthie, and I'm like, this guy, he seems athletic and like he's got this pop, but I don't know in OTAs if I saw him really use it and bring it onto the field. But today, watching him, I feel like Dan Rochar has really gotten his hands on him because it seemed like he was a little more crisp. He wasn't as clunky in his sets. He was a little more unbalanced. He was getting back. He wasn't getting overset. He wasn't getting bowled. So I really liked what I saw from 𝗂𝗏𝗏 as well. So I think both tackles had solid days, and obviously when Monday comes around, we're really going to get to see the one-on-ones, the 9-on-7, all that stuff, who's really ahead in this game. But today, I really gained confidence in both guys from what they were able to do.
It's cool to hear. I think when you see 𝗦𝗏ci physically, you're like, that is a large man.
That's a
when you
from
see
Game of Thrones.
When you see 𝗵𝗏, you say that is a long man. He's just got such long arms. It's the traits that I think drew Ryan Poles in the front office to him in the first place, which was, it's cool to see him sort of maybe be able to grow and develop into those limbs, right?
Guy can tie his shoe standing up.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just one of those guys can hold you. You're trying to punch your older brother.
Right.
He just puts his hand in your head and you can't reach him. Yeah, that's 𝗂𝗏𝗏.
Yeah.
He's a guy that's got traits, and when he figures this thing out, he's going to be able to use them.
Clean out your notebook, Clay. What other things you want to talk
All right,
about?
here
I
we
don't
go.
want to dwell on the bad.
Notes. Yeah, I got a couple notes here. I thought that early in practice, I liked under center play action. Caleb had a nice throw to 𝗏𝗏𝗏 𝗍𝗏 that he hit over the middle, that dagger. I thought that was nice. I know we've said Caleb had a rough day, which he kind of did, but that was still good. Joel Wilson, thought he had a solid day. The tight end that got mentioned by Ben Johnson before OTAs was out, he had a touchdown. He had caught another stick route from Case Keenum. Looked like he might have broke that tackle. He had a solid day. Dom Robb, I watched him only a few times, so I can't really speak on his full practice, but I saw him a couple times getting handled by Joshua Miles, who's just a backup tackle, and that's not something you want to see from a guy like Dominic Robinson. You want to see more from him there. I thought Case Keenum had a day, Ruthie. I thought he looked good.
Yeah.
He looked like he was on time, and he was completing some passes.
Tyson, too.
I have Tyson, a couple nice catches at J.P. Richardson.
That's your camp crush?
Yeah. Grady Jarrett, more Case Keenum, hype here. I thought Ian Wheeler looks like he's got some wheels. I haven't really had a chance to see him with the ball in his hand, and I know Ruthie's been like hype trained Ian Wheeler, and I'm like, why should you keep trying to talk about it? Yeah.
Then it's Ian Wheeler.
Yeah.
He showed off a little bit of speed today.
Guy too.
Ian Wheeler had low-key the catch of the day. That was the only, and I'll say this, first day with fans out there, that catch it was sort of a broken play, right?
And it was like a tip ball.
He Gronk spiked it. It was just a catch in bounds, but it was like a great catch.
I love that energy.
It's great energy, and that was really the only play that got any sort of reaction from the fans today, I would say. I think it was the fans maybe were feeling the way the offense was feeling, which was rough. But I think that Ian Wheeler catch showed you sort of the energy and the personality and the talent that I think a player like him is capable of.
I'm coming around to why you like Ian Wheeler so much. I'm telling you, like, Ruthie would always throw Ian Wheeler in there, and I'm like, no, this is Roschon, this is DeAndre Swift, and this is Kyle Mungai. And she goes, and remember, there's always Ian Wheeler. And I'm like, okay, but today, I'm like, this dude's got some quicks. And he's like built like a running back, like big glutes, like skinny. Like he's a guy that's like that speed back build that you just like create a player. And just to say, like, 𝗂𝗏 I like the fact that he got in the way. It wasn't the best blitz pickup I've ever seen, but it was Dominique Robinson off the edge, and he did not flinch, and he went in and he got tossed a little bit, just like I saw Cole get tossed by Grady Jarrett. There's no pads on,
right.
And like maybe in the game, if you're Cole, you would maybe cut him at that point. But same for 𝗂𝗏, but I love that they're willing and able to really throw themselves in there. That shows that they care about pass protection.
Anything else from Declan Doyle that caught your eye? Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about Declan Doyle. You know, I think it was Courtney Cronin who asked about, you know, Ben Johnson set the standard of we want to have a 70% completion percentage in games. So over the course of training camp, we'd like to get our completion percentage at 70%. It's definitely not at 70%. I'm not tracking every throw, but today in the red zone, like I mentioned, it was 2 for 11. So it was rough. It's not 70%.
But he said they tracked it, right?
So you're wondering how much can you really take away from these training camp practices? Should we be even charting the throws? Like, how much do we take into consideration? And Declan almost cut off Courtney and said, oh, yeah, we're tracking everything. And we're showing them. We're showing them every single day. This is not at championship standard. I thought that was really interesting. Again, goes back to the intensity, the accountability that this coaching staff has been preaching. Like, they are not letting anything slide.
Yeah, and this reminds me of, because, you know, I played with the New Orleans Saints, and when we were with the Saints and Dan Campbell, they tracked every target you had and every catch you had, even as a tight end. We're not even quarterbacks. They let you know. You see it on the board. This guy has the most targets. This guy has the most catches. Whatever. And I had the most catches in training camp.
Let's go, baby.
I got hurt in the last preseason game. But anyways, neither here nor there. I love that they're tracking it, but I thought it was interesting, and I know this isn't a story, but we were talking about, like, the beginning of practice, like J.J. Watt kind of, like, tweeted something out that was retweeted.
It's silly to track throws in practice and stats in training camp because you never know what they're working on or what the defense is working on. But to hear it from the offensive coordinator and say, oh, no, we're tracking everything, kind of tells you everything you need to know.
It matters, and I think that to say it, you never know what they're working on, I don't understand that, because in a game you never know what it's working on either. Maybe he's talking about okay, you're tracking completion percentage when you're working, maybe you're working short yardage.
Yeah.
Maybe you're working base passes or something. There's different periods but still, to me, you can still get a tell of your completion percentage because the defense doesn't know what you're running. Mm-hmm. You don't know what the defense is running. So you should be hovering around your consistent completion percentage, whatever that is.
The reason we bring that up is because Caleb Williams actually retweeted that tweet from J.J. Watt. So clearly it's something that he also was wondering why the media is, or, you know, fans, whatever, are paying such close attention. It's because your head coach told us he wanted to see a 70% completion percentage in practice. So that's why we care. But, yeah, that's something obviously we'll keep our eye on, and there's a lot of time left. Everyone keeps emphasizing how much time there's left. 6 weeks is, you know, a long time. You're going to get a lot of reps in 6 weeks. So no panic button from Ruthie or Clay.
Yeah.
Right?
We're not pressing it yet. We still got a long time to go with training camp.
Long ways to go.
No pads are on yet, so hasn't even started yet, in my opinion.
That'll be a fun day.
Yeah.
Get a little physical in there.
Yeah.
Anything else you had, Clay?
I'm looking, and I think that's all I have.
We got the Big Pro Football Show tonight.
Yeah.
We'll unpack it all.
The Rate Field Crosstown Classic.
Got Cubs socks. I mean, honestly, not sure this day could get any better. Football practice in the morning. The Charter podcast in the afternoon.
Love it.
The Big Pro Football Show, followed by Cub socks at the Rate. Let's go. It's a great day.
Having lunch, beer, and hot dog.
Great weekend. Yeah. Clay Harbor, I'm Ruthie Polinsky. Thanks so much for listening to the Charter Podcast. This is brought to you by St. Xavier University. Have a great weekend.